Hello everybody, so I'm in the middle of a conversation, and this conversation is to do with, so you have a situation, which many of us do, where there's a change that you'd like to make about yourself, or you feel you're ready to make a change, or you feel there's a need to make a change about something, and yet no matter how hard you work, no matter what you do, somehow that situation seems to persist. So this is what I'm looking at here today, and it goes to what I call the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. And this is something we all do. We all tell ourselves stories about ourselves. So when I say the word like I am this or I am that, then this is a bit of a clue. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to follow up on a lead which I've been given just a few days ago. And it's to do with working with the Archangel Metatron. Now this is not a being I've ever consciously chosen to work with before, and that's what I'm going to do this afternoon. So there's a bit of the story about myself and my life which I'm very keen to transform, and that's to do with the whole subject of my past story, of my childhood, of an abuse. This is something I have a longing to change and transform. And despite everything that I've done, and I've done so many things in my life, this is something that still persists as an issue for me to transform. And my partner has a similar situation where there's an issue she wishes to transform. So we're going to be working on this afternoon, and we're going to let you know how we get on. So thank you very much. So, before I go into Metatron and the details, let me just remind you about angels anyway. So angels are what we call non-physical beings. They have an absolutely hugely long lifespan, far longer than we can think of or imagine. And they don't have any physical substance at all. They're pure energy beings. And this means they can be absolutely anywhere in space-time, in any dimension. And also, which is really kind of significant when you think about it, they can be in any number of places at the same time. So they've got no limitations. So this is why angels can appear to hundreds or thousands of people all over the world at the same time. This can and does happen. So Metatron is an archangel. So this means that this is a being that is particularly recognized as exceptionally powerful, and a being that chooses to work particularly with human beings. So it's very important to understand that. So what we're going to do very shortly, we're going to go and prepare ourselves, do some deep breathing, and use the drum and do some shamanic journeying to meet the Archangel Metatron, and to ask for advice and help with transforming the old stories which no longer serve us into something new, powerful, dynamic and inspiring. So that's what we're looking forward to doing next. So here we are, ready to do this work, and I've just spent a little while tuning in to the energy of Metatron, and what I see is this very, very large being, and I see myself in the palm of one of his hands. I'm aware of his immense strength, his sense of timelessness. And when you look at the Aurosoma deck, you notice the bottle is clear and deep magenta, but to my simple vision it looks like the black and the white. And I guess that's what this is all about. And in the bottle you can see that the black is below, the clear, the white is above. And so this is about letting the old story go, by lifting the old story out of my body. So this is what I'm doing with Metatron. I'm being aided, I'm being given the help that I need, the energetic push. And the energetic push that I need is the help to lift the old story out of my body. So this is what I'm going to be working with now. So I've completed my journey, and this is what I share with you now. I felt this sense of the vastness of Metatron and the smallness of my own being that came across strongly. And I pictured this card, the Aura-Soma card. You can see the image there, the dark below and the light above. And I could see that the old story was represented by the dark part of this image. And I knew that somehow this was going to be lifted out of my body, and I didn't know how. So when I was actually doing the journeying work, I journeyed with my guides and my helpers to the upper world and met Metatron and had the experience of being just a small tiny being in the palm of his hand. What then happened is I became aware, he showed me, this story was lodged inside the DNA of every single cell in my body, and that was a big surprise. So I accepted that's what I was being shown, and then I could see myself just being in one cell of my body, and I could feel Metatron coming in to that cell and to all the other cells all at the same time, and I could feel him just plucking that story out of the DNA-based pair sequencing, and the DNA was being rewritten with this new story. So now I wish to share with you the old story. The old story can be summed up in one word. So I saw this picture of the old story, and the picture, it was my representation of powerlessness, being in a situation where I had no power, where I was being controlled by others. And so that's really what my old story was about this one word, powerlessness. And when this story was plucked out of my DNA and my DNA got rewritten, and I could feel this was happening in every cell in my body, after that came the word trust. Trust. And so I lived with this word trust, and I felt that the Archangel Metatron was advising me to trust this process, trust this work with him, and I felt some fear. And I felt some attachment about letting go of this old story. But it did go. And I felt it going. And so I felt the trust. And then I felt the love coming in. First the trust, trusting the process, and then the love. Love of myself. And I could feel Archangel Metatron telling me that I'm loved. That we are all loved. Of course we are all loved. We know this, really. And so this felt very healing in its own way. And when it was time to go, I then said thank you to Metatron and returned with my guides and helpers to the safe place, and then back to the room. So this is what I want to say. It is possible to work with angels and archangels, and there is a film I've already made about angels. If you want, there's a link to it. That'll give you more information. So, angels and archangels, they can be anywhere, anytime. And this is the way it is with them. There is this open, standing invitation at all times to all of us. Every single person has an open invitation to work with any of the angels they feel drawn to work with. And so I thank Metatron, and I want to give you now the words of power of Metatron. So remembering this is all about lifting the old story out of my body, these are the words of power. I shine the light into the shadow, saying yes to that which I've denied or said no to within myself. I shine the light into the shadow, saying yes to that which I have denied or said no to within myself. And so in my story I can see I was attached to the powerlessness and not fully embracing my power. So this is what Metatron does. Let me say it one more time. I shine the light into the shadow, saying yes to that which I have denied or said no to within myself. And this is the gift of Metatron. for us to be able to take on the power of these words. And there they are, written so you can see them. Leave them up for a little while there, you can see them. These are the words of power. And so to be aware that angels are beings that can be anywhere, in any number of places. They are non-physical, they are pure energy, and they are pure love, and they're always willing to work with us. If ever you find yourself in a situation where you feel desperate, you don't know where to turn, remember your angels, they're always present, and this is their present to be present to us. Thank you. I've been instructed to share more words from the Archangel Metatron, so let me give those to you again. I shine the light into the shadow, saying yes to that which I have denied or said no to within myself. This is shining the light into the shadow, a new dawn in the inner worlds. The new dawn begins inside. My new dawn begins inside my DNA as it's resequenced. Connecting with what brings the possibility of wholeness from the depths of our being, to alleviate suffering. Surely my old story of powerlessness was all about suffering. By taking on my power and taking on my new story. To understand suffering in the context of the love of existence. Well, there's something to meditate on. To understand suffering in the context of the love of existence. So when we experience suffering, this gives us an opportunity to take this journey, and the journey is out of fear and suffering into love. So every time we go into not love, we get the opportunity to journey into love and to reconnect with the present, and the present is love, and love is the present. To let go of what we have said no to, what we have resisted or denied within ourselves. So in my case, I've been denying my full personal power. I've said no to my full personal power in my old story. And my new story has wiped the slate clean. My DNA is resequenced. And now I choose to embrace my new story of myself and my life. And I was informed this begins now. The old story was true all the way up until just a few seconds ago, but from now onwards I have the new story. And my advice is to trust and to be present to love. So that's the third word. I knew there were three words. Trust, love and presence are the three words. So I trust the work that I've done. I connect to love in the present, and that brings everything to a point of wholeness and completion.